Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday. Wednesday is a big day. We got FOMC today. Meanwhile, GameStop, oh my gosh. The overnight on this thing, let's just show you guys that first. It is sitting at 216 right now. Yesterday, everybody was like, well, if we can get over 100. Oh, man. Just absolutely crazy. And then a lot happened last night. So first, Elon Musk came out and tweeted about it. So that kind of sent them higher. And I believe that was like that overnight spike right there. And then... or maybe it was that, I don't remember. Anyways, then there was a report came out overnight that both Citron and Melvin Capital covered their most of their shorts or all of their shorts late in the afternoon, which maybe explains this, which made the stock fall down. But it's still bouncing around. I go out there and I look. People are saying that the float isn't changing. I don't think that data like updates real time. But based on the way things have been going and everything else, probably a lot of retail people and other people came in and replaced those shorts. So yeah, this could still continue. Believe it or not, it could still go. I don't really know at this point. There's really no way to know where it stops, what it's going to do. It's just crazy. But I think that there will be at least one more push. So, I mean, we're really not to the insane levels. Some of these people were saying, 700, 1,000. So, in the meantime, we got a lot else going on here. If we come over to our charts, where is my chart? Right here. No, that's not the one. There it is. How did you get all the way down there? E-mini taking a dive overnight. So I didn't really see any like direct catalyst for this, but I think that maybe one of the things that's going on is that there's concerns that all these big funds that are getting squeezed are going to have to sell their portfolios to cover it. And so the S&P 500 is moving down. Now, when you look at the treasuries, it's a different story. The treasuries, well, they're up a little bit, but the treasuries have kind of been, I want to say, pairing risk. There's FOMC today. So that's a big part of what they're doing in the treasuries. Still flattening, by the way. Still flattening. Let's check the knob. Knob also flattening. All right. Oil down in the overnight session, but overall still like in the channel and within the range. Gold kind of coming down a little bit, as you see here when we look at the dollar. Also, copper not looking so hot. Well, when I see copper down, that makes me think that maybe there's also some concerns about coronavirus. So yeah, copper and gold, you can see the dollar coming up here again. They're still not hitting the technical levels that the Forex traders would like to see. So we'll see. At the moment, you can see that the E-mini is trying to make a push back to even. ZB just traced it a 50% retracement of January's dip. Jordan says now they probably did cover their shorts, but it was around 90. Still a big loss, and float is still the same. Basically didn't change anything. Yeah. So I'm really wondering though on where everybody gets their numbers on the float, because I don't think that number updates real time. I'm not even sure that it updates at the end of the day. But I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I don't think anybody else does either. There's like one guy at that firm that's responsible for generating that number that knows how it works, and that's it. Okay. We got U.S. durable goods coming in here. Anyways, tactically speaking, I do think that they're going to continue going because it looks like nothing has changed. Even I can't confirm like exact numbers or anything, but it looks like there's still a lot of shorts out there. I may still cover at some point, purely because I really want this short in Bitcoin. This is like my life's work here, folks, shorting Bitcoin. If I could get somebody to hit me at 300, I would be so happy. What about in March? Oh, those are March. I go to July. Well, if I go to July, I can get, oh my gosh, and they're asking $10 for some of these. This is such bullcrap. So I don't know if I'm going to get it. I could maybe go in on March and just hit them at like, we could sell, that offer is going to have to come down, man. Good grief. So that also reminds me, check Bitcoin. Bitcoin at 3,000. I don't, to be honest with you, Blunt 420, I don't believe that a wedge pattern on a chart means a damn thing. I have never seen any empirical evidence that suggests that any of those kinds of patterns have any efficacy. I have a model that says that Bitcoin is overbought and is on a bubble burst, and that they've just got to reach the right level below for people to puke. The problem is that Bitcoin has been moving down. The stock that we want to short has been moving down. And so the options have been getting more expensive for me. You make me laugh out loud, but there have been many people that have done like big studies on this, and they find that it doesn't mean shit. Sorry. I did look at your Fisher transform yesterday. I don't know if you saw my message in Discord, but I did look at the Fisher transform yesterday. I was able to get it profitable over a year. I wouldn't say that it was amazing. It wasn't the best thing that I had found, but it was pretty okay for just an oscillator. What about the whale, the shark, the ledge, and the hammer, and the sharp star, and the So I have done a lot of work on candlesticks too. I guess I shouldn't say a lot of work, but I've done some work on candlestick patterns too. So candlestick patterns are really interesting because over a small time period, say 6 months to a year, you will find certain candlestick patterns that seem to be extremely effective. So the one this past year is the inverted hammer. Inverted hammer and haramari both seem to have some efficacy in this market. And it kind of depends on what you put for like your thresholds and stuff, as to how good your signal is going to be and how often you get it and everything. But it did work. But then when you expand the data set and you look at like 8 years, it's nothing. So what happens is that it will rotate. Like there will be a candlestick pattern that works that year, and then the next year it will be a different set of patterns, and it shifts. Hamari. I forget how to say it. I forget how it's even spelt. Harami. It's a harami. Okay, it's a harami. By the way, I didn't really see like a huge reaction to durable goods while we were talking. So I guess we've just got until the market opens and we'll see how all this chaos plays out. I'm going to be really disappointed if all of these options stay 10. Like, really, I guess I could, no. Like, I'm not willing to spend more than 500. So that means that I need one that's like at 5. I could jump the line here and put one in at 260 and see what happens. Okay, well, let's not worry about that until the market opens. Move this over here. Let's see here. What else? Apparently, Boeing moving overnight. When do these options expire? The ones that I was looking at were March and July, I think. So I put some out there. I was reading yesterday. Apparently, if I put an order out there and then you know that it's going to be there and you trade against it, that's illegal. So I'm not doing that or anything of that nature. But I do have some bids out there. But I mean, when you look at it, I mean, I'm putting them at $1. Yeah, there's no way they're going to get filled. There's no more. No, the
Vincenzo C says there's no more talking chat.
There is still the talking chat, but there's so many people have been in the chat the past few days that we haven't been using it a whole lot, except for when people donate or, they say something really good that we want to push. By the way, I didn't tell you guys, but if you donate, it shows up at the bottom of the screen. I don't know if you noticed that, but you can see down there the donations. So we got some donations yesterday, so thank you guys very much. We will put that to good use here on the channel. You say GME is not going higher and to sell now, dumbasses? Well, first of all, the market's not open yet, so I'm not going to mess with the overnight liquidity. What happens, happens. The bot will curse, yes. If you put something in there, I'm pretty sure it will curse. Although, we want to keep this kosher for YouTube, right? And for advertisers. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I don't think that so here's the thing. There was Melvin Capital, and there was Citron. Those two seem to be the two dumbest ones that were short this. But it doesn't look like they are responsible for the entire short. So I don't know where it's coming from. Perhaps as it's moving up, you're getting new shorts that are just getting short at a higher basis. I don't know. But every time that we come in at the end of the day and we look at those numbers on the percentage of shares short, it changes, but not significantly. So, and that means that it's still more than 100% of the flow, which means that they're going to keep squeezing it. And when I go on Wall Street Bets and I read what people are saying on Wall Street Bets, of course, there's going to be a range of opinions, but they seem to be overwhelmingly in favor of holding. So it's distractions. I mean, I think that there probably is some of that going on. I don't know about that one. So you know what I think is going on here? You ever watched Molly's Game? Have you ever watched Molly? If you haven't watched Molly's Game, you put that on your list. That is like a required viewing for traders, and it's one of those ones that you'll find on streaming websites. I think you can find it on Netflix right now. And Molly's Game is about a woman that would host high-stakes poker games. And in the movie, there is a guy that is really good, apparently. Like, he's the guy that tends to do the best at the table. And he uses a strategy that is kind of like, he is really stingy. He only goes in when he knows that he's going to win, and he shoves everybody out. And so it's really difficult to take money from him. And then one time he runs into this situation where the probabilities are all in his favor, and the guy that he is playing against is a complete idiot, and he loses to this guy. And when he loses, it's like everything disconnects, and he starts making bad decision after bad decision. He is on tilt. And all of the other poker players that lost money to him are like the word gets out. They're like, hey guys, he's on tilt. Like, come and get your money back. And so they all go and they get their money back from playing poker against him in this one night. And he goes into debt. And that's like it. Okay. That is what is happening here, man. These shorts, they're on tilt. Melvin Capital and Citron did something stupid by not covering their shorts and not setting a acceptable risk point and accepting basically unlimited risk and blowing up their funds. That's what's going on here. Now it looks like that they've gotten out that a bunch of other people say, oh, well, it's too high, we'll short it here. And I don't know. I think that they could continue. It looks like that they're not going to let up. Maybe they want 1,000. I don't know. But the thing is there's no way at this point. At this point, there's no way to know what's going to happen. Trying to guess like a number and stuff is like, the speculation is so high that whatever number you pick is going to be wrong, right? Seth recommends to watch a movie, follows to explain and spoil the whole movie. Well, that's not the whole movie. That's just one small side story in the movie. So I didn't ruin anything for you. The larger bit of the movie is the girl's story, and sorry, the one. I mean, she's not a girl. She's a woman. Her story, and you know, it's a good show. I was guessing 200, 400 was La La Land. Don't stay there long, but it's distractions from larger events. Yeah, I definitely see a lot of battling out there. I mean, you got to realize this is a war zone, right? And there are people trying to push alternatives to try and distract people. There is definitely a lot of, hey, you need to get out now because of this and that. There's a lot of people still pushing the diamond hands thing. I don't know. You say that it's not great to gamble on anymore either side. The short percentage didn't change. Can you explain? So in order for me to sit down and say that it's over, I need to know that the percentage of the float short is less than 50% now. Let's say 50, 20%. Like normally it's like if it's 20%, then you can get a short squeeze, right? But let's be generous and say 50%. And everybody's telling me that it's still over 100. So what does that mean? The number that we've got old, and it is below 50%. I mean, I don't know. How else do you square that away? You're saying the spread's growing. So how wide was the spread? Because I've seen it up to $1. By the way, we should pull this back up so that we can see that. That's what I've got this for, is so that we can see the spread. You know what, let's just... We've already traded 10 million shares overnight. That's freaking hilarious. From 75 cents Okay, yeah, because normally it's been about 20 cents. But the thing is just remember, when the spread increases, that suggests informed trading, right? If you are puking, you don't want the spread to wide on you. Say John Cavaz says S3 Partners updated their page. The float is at 139%. But when did they update it? Like that data point represents what time in the market? The close of yesterday? This morning? What is it? What is it at? By the way, I got a sandwich here I'm going to eat at. You guys keep talking here. I'll give you guys a little bit to get all your questions and thoughts out, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. But that's the big question is, like, at this moment right now, is it 139%? How sure are you about that? Why did ES flush in their pre-open? Well, I think that there are some concerns about coronavirus and vaccines going on out there, but I also think that there may be some concerns that some funds have to liquidate because of this short squeeze thing. So we'll see. It looks like they're trying to recover it, so... If you make a materially false statement and you know that that statement is materially false, to coerce people into making trades, that is illegal. That is the prime example of market manipulation, the thing that they really go after. So if you were to say, the float is 138% and you actually know that it's 50%, then that would be market manipulation and they take you to jail. So if Marvin Capital was not actually out and they put out a press release that said that, yeah, that's market manipulation. Example A. But I think that they did get out. I'd have to go back and look at their press release because I think that they were kind of said that they were mostly out. It's the way that you do this sort of thing. You don't necessarily do it all at once. But another thing that I would point out is that they waited until like the very end of the day. So like they were pushing it. It was like they were told, you've got to get out of this tomorrow. And they waited and waited and it didn't go down. And then they finally puked. That's what it looks like from the chart to me. But I'm, you know, there's a little bit of inference there. So. Okay, you can see on Wall Street Bets it was posted 36 minutes ago. I don't know. Okay, so somebody asked, if you reinvest, do you still get taxed? Yes. So once you sell, you have to pay taxes on what you sold. I don't know what the rules are in the Eurozone, but that's the way it is here. Oh, sorry. Did I not change the title? Thank you. I always forget to do that. You're right. It is the 27th. Save. That'll help. Now, Sugar Daddy is saying here, I don't think they are dumber than Robin Hooders. Doesn't matter. Smart people do dumb things, man. Like, seriously. I think this is a perfect example of where I feel like that the explosion of quant trading at large firms has some knockoff effects, and one of them is that they don't seem to actually understand like real trading, and so they'll get into this situation where they're like, well, the model says this and it's not appropriate for that situation, and so they take on excessive risk and they get screwed. What's up with these halts? Do they work? How long can they be? So the halts are usually about 5 minutes, but then they can extend it to 10 minutes. The way that it works is, I believe they've changed it so that there is like if it moves a certain amount within a certain time, then they trigger it. So it's like if it moves like 10% in 5 minutes, then you get a halt triggered, is I think what happens. Now we can watch it. I should pull that up, by the way, because we're definitely going to get that today. If you go to nicey.com/trade-halt-current, you can see the most recent trade halts. So PRSP was halted earlier today. Am I retarded if I put $700 into GME at $200 per share? That depends on how big your account is, I guess. Well, I mean, what is there to say about Elon Musk? Elon Musk tweeted about it. It creates some interest. He didn't say that he was buying it or taking a position. If he came out this morning and says, I just bought X amount of this, then it would just go, you know, but you think it's going to hit $500 today? Because if it, if I got $1,000, then I could turn around and put that into this. Come on, that'd be great. Melvin used to short Tesla. I think that, people were saying that maybe there's a bit of revenge going on there. Maybe. I think it's interesting, the numbers that these guys hold. Let's pull them up, shall we? I mean, you guys probably already read it, but if we come over here to like Wall Street Bets. Morning, more manipulation on this sub. Don't fall for the fake BS. When you read fake news, some of them are saying that Melvin didn't actually close out. If they didn't actually close out, that's market manipulation, and they will get hit. Well, I think that they're a hedge fund, right? See, look at this. None of these guys are selling. They don't think that it's true. I think that you're a special breed of stupid if you think that you can put out a fake a press release with objectively false information on it when the whole world is watching this thing. The craziest short squeeze of all time, thousands and thousands of people watching it, and you're gonna put that out. The SEC would come for you almost certainly. My voice is freaking you out? I'm sorry. Is it too sexy? Is my booming low voice makes you a little nervous, does it? Wouldn't it have shown, though? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, but the question is, here's the question. Okay. If all the Wall Street Bets guys are sitting on it, then when Melvin buys, who are they selling against? Right? Do you think that it doesn't look to me like any of those Wall Street Bets guys liquidated yesterday? This move down just looks like the market makers moved it there because of informed trading. Who's selling it? I think that it's like Melvin's getting out and they're just passing the short off to somebody else. I mean, I really wish I had the order flow and like the data to really know, like every time. It would be nice if every time there was a sell, you would be able to tell that it was a short sell, right? Every one of us has a price. Would or wouldn't you sell the share for 10K a piece? Well, sure, if I could get 10K, I would take it. But if you get up to 10K and then you think, oh, it's going to go to 20K. Yes. Yes, I am aware that Citron covered. So many new retail shaders. There are a lot of people swapping shares. Yeah, I mean, I'm betting you that there are a lot of people out there taking their first shorts ever. There you go. Every single one will sell at a point. Melvin just has to reach those points. Watch the flow is full of less than 100 share trades. It's a lot of it is going to be retail. That's almost always the case, though. In the futures market, something like 90% of the trades are one lots. So I just, what the thing is that they're saying this stuff They're just saying that because that's like the most convenient thing for them to believe. They don't actually have any information to suggest that they didn't actually cover. How would they know that? I think they sold their shorts at a premium to someone with deeper pockets than them. Maybe. That could be possible, actually. They did an OTC trade and just passed it off instead of it going to the market. Although I would say, though, like, you know, what is this, right? Like, let me highlight it. I don't have my pen open. Where is it? Is it over here? No. It's gotta be somewhere. Oh, there it is. Okay. This right here. I mean, what is this? I think that somebody covered. No math, please. If you don't like math, probably watching the wrong stream. I think CNBC never actually quoted them as covering, just that they didn't own the shorts anymore. Okay, let's go and look. Let's go and look at the press release, shall we? CNBC. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, where is it? I don't think that was the outright. Oh, come on. I don't think that was the one like the original story. Oh, there we go. That's the one I want. Melvin Capital closed out its short position in GameStop on Tuesday afternoon after taking a huge loss, a hedge fund's manager told CNBC's Andrew Ross Sorkin. So that sounds like something that maybe we would see on Twitter, shall we? Shall we check? Twitter, Andrew Ross Sorkin. For all of those retail investors out there saying they are so sophisticated, please explain why so many of them are confusing the stocks of AMC theaters with AMC networks. Just look at the stock prices this morning. That's funny. I'm sure that a lot of them are doing it wrong. Okay, here he is. I'm gonna listen to this. You won't be able to hear it. Interesting thing going on here in the 10-year. You're right. They didn't say that they sold it or anything. They just said that they're out of it. He just said that they're out of it. You're right. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they recovered. Could mean that they gave it to somebody else and that somebody else is trying to cover it. Umesh says, I'm from India. What is your view on the stimulus package? Well, it sounds to me, so first of all, I don't think that we need another $2 trillion influx. I think that would probably cause more harm than good at this point. There is some concern out there about this whole thing, about how much it's going to go. And last I heard was that now they're saying that maybe they only get a 900 million instead of, or sorry, billion instead of a trillion. Oh man, what is wrong with Discord? It looks like that Discord is just dying here. I am going to close it. Should be more targeted to the people who are unemployed. Well, I'm not so sure how you do that. Now, the Wall Street, the really, like my parents, they didn't get any stimulus checks. They didn't qualify. So it's not that simple. Maybe I do think that they should have done more for unemployment earlier. What kind of harm do you think that it would cause? Well, so where do you think all that money goes? So you have an issue where you're giving people money that they don't actually need, and what are they going to do with that money? And so far, it looks like they've been putting it into the stock market, and the result is that you're going to get stocks and stuff that become overvalued. It'll take a while for that money to find its way into the most efficient, places. So you run the risk of creating bubbles, and you run the risk of creating excess inflation and having the Federal Reserve have to step in. Because if you give so much fiscal stimulus that the Federal Reserve has to come in and start raising interest rates, you got like a real problem, I think. There's like let's put it this way. You can't just give everybody $2,000 and there not be repercussions for it. Like, it affects a lot of things, and there's going to be unintended consequences, and especially when the amount of money out there that you're putting out is like way more than is needed. AMC is at 300% now. Really? I've been keeping an eye on the AMC thing, but I'm not as excited about that company, and I want to see the GameStop thing to finish first. I doubt if people are using their stimulus to buy stocks. So we have direct evidence that people are doing so, because all of the brokerage firms are getting tons of deposits in multiples of the stimulus check. So it'll be like $2,000, $1,000, $500. They are absolutely putting their money in with stimulus checks. I mean, I did. It's kind of funny. Like my wife, she's been on furlough not furlough, but she's been basically unemployed for the past year. She took maternity leave, and she was taking unemployment for a while, and then they stopped doing it, and they screwed it all up. I think she could apply for it again, but she's now that they've got it all fixed, she's gonna start working again this month, so it doesn't matter anymore. Kinda sucks. Okay, got Discord back here. Yeah, Forever Real, that's another interesting point, is that it's not evenly distributed across the country. The Democrat areas of the country have, been much more aggressive than other parts of the country. Here in Utah, it's basically been like normal, other than you have to wear a mask, since April. Yeah. I'm well aware that another YouTuber blew their account, but I don't like talking about other YouTube channels, so but I know. Seems like a nice guy. I think that the way that he trades kind of makes that sort of a thing inevitable, but that's okay. It's not like I haven't done worse. I guess I haven't lost like what, $2,000 in a day. The worst I've done is 500 in a day. Small timer. But that was way more than I should have lost, That was so dumb. Yeah. And yesterday, let's see here. So yesterday, I did catch that runner at the end, and that one wiped out some of the losses, but in the end, it was still like I was down 50. Yesterday sucked. I'm kind of like, it was really like, even if I'm taking like equal risk reward and everything, I was just like not catching a single one. So I think I probably need to bring in my targets and everything. This is kind of where I wanted to take something. Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. So I'm going to try shorter targets. We already talked about how old martingale strategies only work for $1 million accounts. Well, apparently, if you're Melvin or Citron, they don't even work for $1 million accounts. Oh, you took that? Well, that one took me out right there. That's okay. I have to say the rule, the most important rule for me is, this is an infinite game. The purpose of an infinite game is to keep the infinite game going and stay in the game. Never do anything that could potentially take you out of the game. Do you ever look at options? I mean, I've been looking at them lately for very specific plays, but I don't like to like regularly day trade options. I'm only going to use options in like a very specific situation where I feel like that I have information, like a real informational advantage over the market that gives me a good probability of getting it. Yeah, they're still feeling bearish, I guess. You got to realize that the way that options are priced are such that you know, the probability is that you're not going to win, right? Like, in order to make money buying options, you have to know better than the people pricing it what the probability of something happening is. Do you have an exit plan? So, in GME, I have an exit plan, yes. The exit plan is to just hold it for forever, and no. If I get a good spike, I'll probably get out of it. Similarly, if I get a good spike and then it dumps afterwards, then maybe I get back in. They're risky to trade. I have a lot of money. Lost a lot of money, but it's high risk, high rewards. On the flip side, I made $100,000 in a day once. Yeah, I mean, one of the issues I have with options is that you really have to risk a decent chunk of change on each individual trade. They weren't designed for retail traders, like, seriously. You know, if they reduced the lot size so that it wasn't 100 and it was like 10, then it would be okay. But because I would love to be able to just risk $50 at a time, right? But some of these, you know, like if I want to get on the one that I want to short right now, you got to spend $1,000 just to play, and that's for options that, according to their models, have like a 0% chance of hitting. Like, that's ridiculous. Do we usually sell after earnings or hold? Well, that's up to you. So, if I'm gonna day trade, I'm usually doing it over here in the futures. So that's the first thing, is like when I'm using technicals and news and that sort of a thing, I want futures. It's a much better vehicle for it, right? If I own a stock, I own a couple of stocks, and I'm gonna look at earnings. I don't necessarily want to make plays around earnings because there's going to be a lot of crazy stuff going on, and I'm not necessarily going to get a good price when it's close to earnings time, right? So which data provider do you have use Rhythmic? You should just buy some AVA/BTC. No, I want to short Bitcoin. Don't understand. I want to short it. I think it's going back below 20K. And if you want to know more about why I believe that, you can check out the Patreon. It's in the video description below. I have a model that has predicted major tops and bottoms in Bitcoin. It's done it several times. I started the model in 2017, and since I started using the model, it has caught 3 major tops. It's really good, and it says that we had another top. How talkative would you get if you started drinking coffee? I would probably get less talkative, actually. Oh my gosh, did somebody open up the vent in here? Hold on a second, it's getting hot in here. Yes. Like, why is it so hot? It looks like that one of the kids climbed back there and probably accidentally opened it up. Do you believe in the CNBC news? So it appears to me from the news that Citron and Melvin no longer own the shorts. It doesn't look like the float has decreased, but that data may be old. But what I'm looking at now suggests to me that the shorts are still in, and that possibly they just sold it to somebody else, and now somebody else is short. I don't know. How much do you guys in chat have in stake? That'd be interesting. I only bought 1 share. I'll admit, right? So the amount of volume that they're trading, even in the pre-market, is pretty crazy, guys. Thoughts on stocks that Melvin and P72 have large positions on dropping? I think that maybe some of the selling has been related to that, yes. Should make sure I've got TweetDeck up over here. Prime Minister Johnson talking about vaccines. Vaccines are an international venture. We'll continue to work with EU friends. Oh, by the way, have any of our traders said anything today? Wow, the largest open interest strike for upcoming options expirations at Derby Exchange is Bitcoin calls at 52,000. How is that for optimism? Wow. Well, that's interesting. Wow, the convergent trading guy has hundreds of people going through that program now. Mm-hmm. You bought 30 shares for $13? Wow, man. You got wow. I mean, I envy you guys that really saw it early. Here's the thing is that I mean, I knew it was going on and I knew that it was going up and everything, but I just didn't want to play that. Didn't want to play that game. I tend to avoid talking about specific stocks because I don't want to be involved in the game of, like, you know, trying to pump the stock and chasing around. And there's some things about that are kind of negative for trading. It kind of teach you bad things. And for day trading, I think that futures are a much better vehicle. But this GameStop kind of turned into something else because it turned into a proxy war for something that I really strongly believe in. Because Wall Street and large elite interests have been basically trying to squeeze retail people out of markets for a long time. They don't want you to buy individual shares. They don't want you to be able to have an impact on the market, right? They want you to put everything into their funds and let them manage the money for you. And then you don't have a vote on the board of directors for the stocks that you own. And you have like no power whatsoever in the market. And to me, GameStop is the retail investors realizing the amount of power that they really have in the market and saying, no, we're going to participate now. And that's good. And I want as many people trading it as possible. He is trading. I am trading this. The trade that I took in the MES was a simulated trade. Yes. Took two there, one winner, one loser. The one GameStop share that I have is alive. Can you trade? No, why would you not? Why would you do that? You see, and this is exactly the attitude that I'm talking about, Gary. See, there's a group of people out there that think that doesn't matter. You guys are going to lose anyways because Wall Street is so much smarter and better than all of you. But look at what just happened. They got fucked. Technical word, YouTube. That I was using a technical term. There's no better way to describe that. Okay. This is what we call in the trading world where when you blow your account, right? They blew their account. 2 funds out. Actually, I guess Citron didn't go bankrupt, did they? But Melvin Capital went bankrupt. They won. They did. Is it still rigged? Yes. Is it still difficult? Yes. Man, oh my gosh. Look at GameStop is going. Oh my gosh. They made a new overnight high at 360. God, this is so crazy. I get that the firms are really big, but they make mistakes. I'm telling you, these guys, it's just like that trader that he's taking on too much risk and he's never had a big loser before. That's what these guys are like, and they don't know. They don't know what they don't know. It's like they know so much more than us, but there'd be that one little thing. That one little thing that, hey, you know what? You can't fight it. Like, we bought up all the shares. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Look at this. It's still going up. Who did they sell to? This was going back to, like, I don't know why the float didn't go down, but if they turned around and was selling it at the later end of the day, or sorry, they were buying at the later end of the day to exit their positions, who were they buying it from? Because it doesn't look like any of y'all was selling it. Doesn't look like anybody on the Wall Street Bets sub was selling it. They're all saying hold it. Ergo, you've still got this situation where these big guys have to cover their positions, and there's not a lot of shares out there available for them to do it. What time are earnings for Apple, Facebook, and Tesla? I don't know exactly, but that's all going to be aftermarket. I will not be around for the Apple and Tesla earnings. I'm not going to stream that. We will be back later today because it is FOMC day. So we will come back. We will watch the FOMC. We'll make fun of the streaming setups and ties that the media are wearing for that event. It should be good fun. I'm sure that some of you stock followers aren't as interested in central bank policy, but that's kind of our specialty around here, so we'll be going for that. Wow, so that was a real rip, man. Holy crap. They did pull back pretty significantly. But like, look, it's going to open up with 100% overnight gain again. So you just got to remember, guys, like historically speaking, remember the Volkswagen. Like, if you haven't looked up the Volkswagen thing, look at the Volkswagen thing. At one point, Volkswagen was the most highly valued company in the world based on market cap because of the short squeeze that happened against them in 2008. This is a similar thing, but like 10 times bigger. There is like really no limit on how high this can go as they try and squeeze the shorts out. Did they? Doesn't look like it's halted to me. No, but it's not halted yet. But it's almost certain that it's going to get halted within the first 5 minutes of it going live here. We still got 4 minutes before we go live. Do you think a huge dip will be good for GameStop, or will it be harder to go up again? Well, I think that the best thing is to see consistent, steady trend up. You just want, almost like a straight line. When you get rips, those have a tendency to come back on you. What would you realistically sell? There's no way to know, man. So it's kind of hard to explain it. And it's certainly going to be hard for me to do with GameStop. But I'm going to be watching the book and the spreads, and I'm looking for signs. So right now, by the way, the spread is like over $2. Okay, $1 right now. But that will change when the market opens. We'll take a look at it. But there's kind of like certain movement that I'm seeing, looking for a real overextension, and then maybe I'll get out at that. I keep in mind, my current belief is that this is likely to continue moving all week. I think we could wake up again tomorrow and it could be doubled overnight again. Like, no joke. I have this play that I want to do in Bitcoin, though. I'm afraid I'm going to miss the chances. I'm waiting for the FOMC. I want to see what they do for the FOMC today, but then I want to go short this thing. We're getting games, I wish. Does a Lambo, can you buy a Lambo for $325? Because that's what I got. I got one share. I would need to buy it today as I waited too long. So if you waited too long and you really believe that it is going to continue going up, I would not buy the rips. I would not chase it. So I would wait for some sort of a pullback, like this was a pullback. Hey, you know what? If you had bought it at 200 overnight, then you'd be pretty happy, right? I 100% completely understand exactly what I'm doing, Gary Rich. I was trained in how to trade options and everything about them, and I know more about Bitcoin than some of the supposed experts that you see on CNBC. I know 100% what I'm doing, and I want to buy puts on MSTR more than any trade that I've ever wanted to make in my life. I'm just not willing to put $1,000 on it. I was trained by the guy that they have do that at Goldman Sachs. So when you're there, that man, they do so many classes. They do so many classes, and it was like a 3-day options thing. So it was. I know what buying and selling puts and what taking the other side of it is. I know all of the complicated condors and spreads and stuff. I don't ever mess with those. I usually just do outrights when I've been practicing them. I've messed around with a lot of calculations and different ways of looking at them. I understand how the Black-Scholes models works, right? I understand that the book on them is very, very light. This is another thing. I'm pretty confident that I know. Well, that's great, Gary Rich, but we're just talking about buying a put. Like, good fucking grief. You're so ridiculous. I think that you're just trying to shit test me or something, because like this whole thing over, oh, you don't know what you're doing. Like, I'm buying a put on something that I am almost positive is going to be worth half of what it is today in a month.
Block by.
Yeah. I think I know what I'm doing. You want to if there's something, if you think that Bitcoin is going to the moon or whatever, then go and sell those puts to me. Go and hit those puts. No, I'm not going to bet you money. I'm putting my money into the puts so that they can become $50,000. You can, if you want to make a bet the other way, go and buy calls or sell my puts. How did you get in Goldman Sachs? It's hard? Is it not? I got to tell you, it was hard to get in. Interviewing for them was so exhausting. It was so exhausting. Can you explain why you think MSTR will go down? Okay, sure. So I have a model that has predicted the last 3 major tops in Bitcoin. And this isn't like, oh, I wrote this thing and I adjusted it and back tested it. And then no, I've been watching this thing from 2017. I've been posting notes about it every day. And the last 3 major market tops that we've had, the 2017, 2018, and then the little one that we had earlier in the year, it has predicted all 3 of those. It is extremely effective at finding major tops in Bitcoin. And it says that Bitcoin is, bubble pop imminent. Okay, probably the high already have been touched. Possible that there might be another run though. If there was another run, I'd be ecstatic to go and I would just turn around and short it. It posts this every day at my Patreon. You go to patreon.com/speculators. The link is in the video description below. You can subscribe for $5 a month and you can see my daily thoughts on Bitcoin. Now, MSTR is a company. They are a tech company, and they're basically like a washed out tech company, and they weren't worth hardly anything. And then they started saying, oh, we've been buying Bitcoin. Wow, the E-mini unhappy there. Hold on. Oh, that's hard. It's hard for me to know where it's gonna go. Hold on, I need to do some work here. Okay, so they've been turning themselves basically into like a glorified ETF. Oh, man. Okay, so I know what I need to do. That's crazy. Well, I'm kind of wondering, there must be a limit to what this is going to do here, but they look like they're in like all out panic sell mode. Okay. So MSTR, the exact strike I have here, I'll show you. I mean, so let's just be clear. They're making like an agreement to say like I put an order and you're gonna hit it, and like it's an organized thing. It's apparently you're not allowed to do that, so we're not gonna do that. Okay, but I am trying to buy 1 July 16, 2021, a 185 strike put with a limit at $1. And then I have another one for the March 19th, 2021 at $2.90 for $1. I don't think that either of those are going to get hit. I mean, because when I took it, it was like maybe if you're lucky, but now it's like good luck, Let's see here. Let's go back to July. I'm kind of a little... So, oh, okay. Well... See, this is the frustrating thing here, is like the ask is now $10 spread. It's like, what the fuck? I could buy 165. I don't think that would work out so hot, but... Oh, geez, did it just change on us? Oh, no, it was always like that. It was 115 was what the bid was. There's no bid at 16. Huh. Anyways, I have them out there and we'll see. I mean, that looks like at the moment that's the best I can do, is either that or hope that something about the FOMC there causes a little spike in Bitcoin and we get something. Okay. Anyways, so because they own Bitcoin, they've moved up like excessively because of that. And I think that Bitcoin is going to crash here. And so that's why I think the MSTR is going to go back down. Well, he says, I guess your 3-day class is not working out. Well, the issue is that I have limited capital, right? And I'm only willing to put about $500 down on it. And so the best that I can do, if the what they're asking for them is too much, then the best that I can do is put a bid in and hope that it works out, right? And if it doesn't work out, then I guess, oh well, I didn't make $50,000. But we can always wait for Bitcoin to come down to our buy location and buy it. He's got to be messing with me, because he knows that the thing that gets me going the most is when somebody thinks that you don't know something when you know exactly what's going on. There's another further little drop there. Treasuries looking attractive to me. They actually could go another step higher. Do you think we will ever see Bitcoin at under 10K in our lifetime again? Hold on.
Block by.
By the way, is this... I'm actually hearing stuff about Bitcoin right now. It looks like I'm going to miss the trade, man. I should have just put 500 on it like 3 days ago when I had the chance, huh? Hopefully me saying something isn't causing you guys all to sell it, because it does look like Bitcoin is moving. But I'm not one for conspiracies, but all major brokerages have crashed. Let's see here. Let me make sure I didn't have my Twitter up here. Reports ECB officials see markets underestimating the rate odd cuts. Oh, really? Look at this. E-Trade still has to quote for me, really? Well, listen, I'm on Fidelity and I haven't had a single problem yet. Why are you so resistant to ideas which can assist and help make you money? Because you think that because you're wrong. Like, why are you so resistant to an idea that can assist and help you make you money? I have a model with a perfect historical record, and you're like, oh, Bitcoin's gonna go higher. I'm telling you, man, it's done. As Wall Street bets, you're not able to get to it. I'm surprised that we haven't had a halt yet. You're right. You're right. I cannot get on Reddit. Oh yes, sorry. I lost track of my train of thought. Where do I see Bitcoin 7,000? 7,000. I believe that they could go as low as 7,000. That would be like the lower bound. Anywhere below 7,000, and I would be like chomping at the bit to gobble it up. Okay, so I'm going to put something out here. One limit at 3, just 320. Right. Gary is a Bitcoiner. He's no longer my daddy. Oh, what is this? It looks like some of my robots ran into an issue. Oh, that's the second time that Jay has done something like that. Okay. But let's see here in his performance today. What did he do? Oh, did I just get filled? Nope. Is it not showing up? It's still doing it. Oh, weird. Yeah, Reddit is kind of being funky, but I think it'll be okay. Can you talk? Can you show your chart? Sure. Hold on a second. It looks like Ninja Trader is kind of being a little... I tried to open up that historical performance and it's like, okay, cool. Filled. Filled at 320. I bet you it goes higher and I regret selling that, but Nah, I Ninja Trader kind of has some issues sometimes, and I probably just did something to jack it up. Looks like overall the robots are all doing pretty terribly. So they're not designed to be great in a downturn. They're designed to just kind of take their shot and manage the risk. Because I tend to do okay in a really downturning market. This one though, I'm not so sure. Actually, hold on. Okay. Bitcoin. Here's my chart. View fit image. Okay. Well, that one didn't work out. Okay, so when you look at it here was one. Oh, I need to use a different color. Here was 1, 2. Okay. Technically this one too. And this one. Okay. These were the 3 or 4 major tops that the model showed when I first created it. So this one right here is Mount Gox. Okay. This one right here is 2017. So this is the first one that it predicted. Okay. This one right here, we said we're not to the bottom line, so we're gonna fail 6,000, and we did. So I'm gonna count that one as a correct. And then in 2018, there was this one right here. So those are 3 predictions that I have made using the model ahead of time, and you can go back and you can look at the Patreon and look at the posts every day, and you can see what I was saying those days to verify for yourself that I was making the correct calls. So that brings us to this one. Well, it's coming back pretty hard already, but like we're still above the band, so tendency is going to be to come down to here like this, and this is going to turn down, and so probably to around, well, maybe a little bit below 10,000. Right? And that's it. So that's why I believe that Bitcoin is going to go down. What scale is that model using? So the price is on an exponential scale. You're right that the model, that the oscillator reading, you're right that this is less than the highest that it ever gotten. But here's the thing, is that it's never been able to do this. Like this whole bit right here, this was the market on its own. And then Tether started printing. And it wasn't until Tether started printing that you started getting this. And it trailing above. Otherwise, it was never above like 150. So it's still going. GameStop has not been stopped yet. Wait, did that last one? Okay, yeah, this one's okay. That one was good. Come on. Come on, there we go. So I could probably increase. Yeah, we will. Why is Tether important for Bitcoin? Well, what I'm suggesting is that my model isn't able to spike like that without some sort of manipulation going on. They will peter out before that in the absence of manipulation. So the only way that they would be able to get there, for instance, during the Mt. Gox crash, was because they were basically printing money that didn't exist. And it appears to me that Tether is doing something similar where they are like loaning money to people, and that's how they're doing it. There you are, Win.
Winston's mom says, will everyone please hit the like button? Speculator Seth tracks the numbers for his channels. Thanks.
Thank you. By the way, what are we at today? 14. Oh no, 40. We're good. We're good. Good job. That's 20%, right? Oh my, is they going to go for another new low? Well, there's a big old order down there, man. Huh? Yeah, jeez. This all over the place. Wait, ECB? Oh, ECB's lane. I was like, what? Why would an FOMC speaker be speaking today? This is ECB. Oof, that's not good. I shouldn't have FOMO'd into it because I would rather have bought like right here. All right, well, we'll let him go out. I'll let them stop through that, and we'll buy it down here. Okay, well, that wasn't terrible. See if it goes all the way. GME to the moon. So it looks like it's consolidating at the moment. The AMC chart is insane. Yes, I saw that. Is Robinhood broken again? Okay, that one was a good trade. I wish I hadn't taken that first one because I'm really happy with how that one turned out. Did you? Yeah. Well, I'm really surprised that GameStop was almost 380 at one point. Like, holy crap. AMC is halted. I will verify. Yes. Oh, there's 3. Viacom is halted. AMC is halted. Iron Mountain is halted. Okay. They hit me, but it was only 2 contracts and there was no fill. But Robinhood is fucked. Yeah, I gotta tell you guys, I wouldn't recommend using Robinhood as your stockbroker. Just wouldn't. I'm using Fidelity. The only reason I use Fidelity is because I was gifted that account. But I haven't had any problems with it, so I have to say I'm pretty happy with them. Well, I sure didn't like the excursion on that one, but I think that this may yet turn out. Let's see here. This thing is all over the place. There's a lot of volume there at 3764, though. Nope, they want me. Come on. Okay. Okay, fine. 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 We should come over here. It's been 30 minutes, so let's come and look in Trading View. Get ourselves some better levels. I sold my position in GameStop at 320. Sold my position in GameStop at 320. Let's come down here and check here. Should show. Oh, doesn't show it in there anymore. That's funny. Oh, my account is finally over $6,000. I'm super hyped. When it was 5,000, I was like hyped. So. Oh, that didn't. Okay. Sure. You gonna buy it again if it dips? We'll see. The only reason that I was selling it, because I actually do think that there's a good chance that it could just keep going. But I want this short over here, and I'm gonna use it to fund this short if I can. If I can. Well, we're just gonna have to be patient. Maybe it'll give us another chance after FOMC. But I could try one of these 190. Didn't I click it? Replace. Okay. And oops. That's funny. Was 190. Oh, it was 185. 185, 250. Okay. 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 We're good. Buy 185, but limit 250. Okay. And while I'm doing that, this is popping off. Look at that. You think I could get 3802? Hold on. It sure does look like they've kind of found some balance around 300. Like, I agree with you. Who's saying that? Up we go again. 300. The new floor today would have to spell out 500 by Friday for GME. Possible. Okay, so 3772 was target 1. Target 2 is 3741. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, I have a video about this, about VIX targets. You go on the channel and find that. Close some stuff. Oh, really? That's interesting. Oh, no, I don't want it, but it's sorted by that. Okay, yeah, we're good. We're good. When those spikes come in, it kind of slows down a little bit, but I think that the reason that happens is because of rhythmic. So many people in on this don't even understand what a short is. I think that they do. I think that most of them do. Okay. Wait, hold on a second. Apparently, I have two of these windows open. AMC still halted. I'll halt it again. Oh, GameStop did get halted for a short moment. But now they're moving up. Well, the E-mini pulled back there, but I still see, like, here at this profile and stuff, it looks like that people are still willing to buy above it. So I think that there might be another push above some of these pivots in the 85 area. Let's pull this back out. Where'd the quote go? I guess I'll just have to open a new one. Quote. Okay. Yep, it's halted. Halted at 300. Oh, now it's trading again. Pretty erratic chart, I have to say. Okay, cool. Is GME a one-off phenomenon? I don't think that any of them are going to be as big, but I don't think we could really call it a one-off phenomenon at this point, can we? Because AMC is taking off and there's a bunch of other ones that are like these huge shorts. If the hedge funds can't buy any more shares, the brokers will take up the torch, and if the brokers run out of money, the banks will take a hit. Well, I think that some of this selling in the E-mini is because they know that there's going to have to be some liquidation. Well, look at that. That's pretty good. So I really want to see these positions up in here get taken out. In fact, let's put it right there. So it's definitely something going on right there. Because it's a pivot. Bro, this is wild. Thank you. So I know I've been a little bit like not so entertaining at the moment because I'm managing a bunch of positions, but we're doing okay. I'm just going to put that right there just in case. It was just a problem with financial juice. So just restart that tab. You're doing great. Yeah. Well, if that fills, I'll be happy. I'm getting that. So do you hear that clicking sound? That happens every time that a large limit order is placed. So it does appear to be slightly more institutional interest in this area. And that's why I'm taking it off. That and, like once I get 100, 120, like there's a good chance of like a pullback. So I kind of know my instruments. So this is where, you know, when I look at things like stocks, I have to say I did great on that GME play. I think maybe there's more in it. I really want to use it to fund another short somewhere else. It could keep going. I think I got lucky with where I took it off and everything. It has a 24 and 14% probability of touching and finishing. You're right. You're right. The chances of it finishing in the money are like astronomically low. I'm actually surprised when you come in and tell me that the model says 14% because I expected it to be like 5%. Actually, when I looked at it, it was different. Ooh, REMF taking a hit today. That's not fun. Let's see here. It's still open. I'll just expand this a little bit so we can see. They're still out there. I don't think they're gonna fill, man. Really don't. Like think about this for a second, okay? Here you have something. Oh, there's that. There's that word, that other. I'll come back over here. Okay. Here we have something that has like almost zero probability of being hit, and the market makers are still asking a $10 spread for it, $1,000 spread for it. You don't find that unusual? I'm not going to say that I watched the bids and offers on here that much, but I know that from earlier in the week, that's definitely unusual. Because earlier in the week, they were only doing like a $2 or $3 spread. And I'm sure it is great as an option seller. They're going to be wrong. Like, you understand that the people that are doing the options on this, they're just doing these probabilities based off of how much it's moved in the past and all of these other things and valuations, perhaps based on the Bitcoin that they have. But what their model doesn't know how to factor in is the fact that Bitcoin is starting on the downside of a bubble pop. And these guys put so much money into Bitcoin, they are going to be practically bankrupt if it falls apart. I am basically betting on MSTR going bankrupt in the next 3 months. Like, I straight up, that's what I'm betting on. Yes. Statistically, based on models, it's a low probability of happening. I think they're underestimating the chances of that happening. That's why I want to do the trade. I would very much prefer to get in, like where it's at right now. You know, like if I could have bought 16, but I don't have $18,000. That spread is a sucker spread. Yeah, that's why otherwise I would have hit into it, but there was earlier in the week, there was some spots where I could have hit into it, but that's why I'm just going to put my limit orders out there. And if they hit me, they hit me. But this one it's equal to the best bid. So if anybody decides to sell there, then we should be good. But I don't, so it's probably a long shot that I get filled. Seth, okay, you have all the models, which I have one model. The professionals don't have it. Yes, that's correct. Arrogant and cocky. Well, I think that after, here's the thing. How many times do I have to be right about this for people to believe me? I just don't get it. It was right 3 times before I developed the model. Since I've developed the model, it's been right 3 times. It's been almost perfect. It's like if I've ever made a mistake with it, it was not trusting the model enough. And I I literally already made money from trading it. Twice I've made money from trading it. And nobody believes me. I don't get it. What do I have to do to convince people? It's so mind-boggling to me. Like, especially you, Gary. It's like, hey, here's a model. It's complicated, and here is the historical efficacy of it, and that it works. And you're like, oh, no, that doesn't work. But then it's like, oh, here is a chart pattern on here. Oh, chart patterns, they matter so much, even though every study that has ever been done on it says that they don't work. Where do you get this shit from? Like, seriously. He's a mod because I like him. I do like him. And even if he busts my chop, I like him. But come on, man. I mean, you said this shit in 2017 and I was right. Well, sell it to the algo firms. If an algo firm comes to me and wants to buy it for $1 million, I will sell it to them, yes. I don't have contacts with people like that. Gary got to me. I can afford to show a little emotion here and play it up for you guys because I don't have any positions on. In fact, I'm over here in let me pull it over. I did absolutely terrible the last 2 days, but that winner more than made up for the awfulness. I had a good day. And usually over here on my discretionary trading, once I get $100, $200, it's usually best for me to stop. So I'm probably not going to take another discretionary trade. So we can just have fun now. Can people trade GME on Robinhood in the US? Well, they've a lot of people have been talking about outages. Don't laugh. After the anger strike, you negate like that. You eat. I have to say, you know what it is, because I haven't been working out as hard. So for those of you that are new and don't know a whole lot about my personal life, I do Olympic weightlifting. I'm absolutely terrible at it. Like I'm not kidding. I am like the bottom 5% of Olympic weightlifters. My body is just not built for it. I have a couple of health problems. It's hard for me. It's very hard for me. But I got into it for my ex because that was the thing that with her metabolism and everything helped her lose weight the most. And it worked out. And then when I was dating my wife, my now wife, she was lifting with me, and she would still be lifting with me right now if, we didn't have the baby. We're still trying to work out some schedules so that she can lift too. Anyways, but I had coronavirus at the beginning of the year and a couple of other things. And so I haven't been lifting as much. And then yesterday I lifted again. And it's like you can immediately feel the testosterone come in. It's so funny. I want to see you at... No, I'm not going to... If Gary... First of all, if I met Gary in person, I'd give him a hug because he has come around. Like, the thing is as much shit as we give each other, he keeps coming back. At which, I feel like I can be like that with him and he won't get offended, because he thinks he's right and I think I'm right and it's okay. So, but I love you. Seriously, slow it down. I love you. I got you. I like, here's one thing that you are right about, Gay Rich. I do not have a lot of experience with actually having positions and options. I've learned a lot about them. Like I said, I've actually read multiple books on options, and I took a course at Goldman Sachs. It was multiple days long from their guy that they used to teach options. He teaches a lot of other things, but his specialty is actually corporate law, like bankruptcy stuff. But he also knows a lot about options. So a very good teacher, this guy. I wish I could remember his name. I wonder if I have all that stuff with his names and stuff. Anyways, but I haven't held very many actual options positions. I'm always watching them and looking at it and being like, well, I don't think this is the game for me. But this is like this one really special situation where I feel like I have a really good an edge on them. I do feel I believe that I have a piece of information that they don't have. So I want to do it. And I'm totally willing to risk a reasonable amount of money for it. And if it doesn't work out and it expires worthless, then oh well. Things my grandpa taught me: never miss a good chance. I mean, come on, it is fun. You enjoy it. How did you end up? Yeah, so you want to know how I ended up working there? I'll explain how I ended up working there. I don't think that it's as like. I know that when you say, oh, I worked at Goldman Sachs, that it's like, whoa, like you must be really, but here's how it happened. Okay. I was going through school and I was about to graduate in computer science. Okay. I did a computer science degree and I always thought that I was going to make video games. And this company comes over, maybe you've heard of them. Their name is Zynga. They developed a game called Farmville, which was very popular at the time, and this was 2008. And they were looking for interns, and so I'm like, oh, okay, let's see, maybe it could be an intern. And I went to see, and they wanted they wanted people with like all this crazy experience, like you've made a bunch of games before, and you know all of this stuff, and we're not going to pay you hardly anything at all. We're not going to hardly tell you need to know everything, and we'll pay you nothing. And we'll work you to the bone. And that will be your job at Zynga. And I was like, well, this is bullcrap. Like, they're just totally taking advantage of people so that you can have the prestige of working at Zynga. Like the hot video game developer company. And like, the more I started to look into it, the more I was like, oh my gosh. Working in the video game industry is like hell. It is like they work you to the bone and then the project is done and they lay you off. It's nutso, right? So I was really political and the financial crisis happened and I immediately knew because of that it was a significant thing. So I said, I'm going to start learning about the stock market. I'm going to, slowly start doing everything that I could. So that's where literally every day since then, I've done everything I can to learn whatever is available about the financial industry. So read the CNBC front page every day, look at every chart. I looked at the S&P 500 every day since then. I've read a bunch of books about technical analysis. That's the one that I think is so funny because, people say all of these things about technical analysis, and it's like, I totally get it because I used to follow that stuff too, but then I learned, then I got my hands on NinjaTrader and I started programming them all and I realized that they didn't work. CNBC has proved to be a not very trustworthy source of all this GME stuff. Well, I mean, I don't know. There's always a slant on it. You're right. I think that CNBC, the reason you read CNBC is because they actually have a really good handle on like what the market sentiment is. Like on CNBC, they're talking about Reddit and they kind of know the things to say. Like, you guys realize that the whole like attacking Wall Street bets on CNBC is kind of like an intentional strategy to get you going, right? Like, they do that because they know that the more that they piss you off, the more that you'll go over to watch them and argue with them, and the more attention it will attract, right? But they're a good sentiment indicator is what I really like about them. And if you watch the TV, you actually do learn stuff. It's not the stories that everybody focuses on, but you do learn stuff. And there certainly are other financial news outlets that I would also look at. It seems like Bloomberg is okay. I really like the Financial Times and kind of leaning more towards Financial Times is the best spot to look at. Anyways, I've read a lot of books and stuff, right? So anyways, I'm watching television, and the whole thing is, people at Goldman Sachs make too much money. Why do we allow these people to make so much money when they basically had to get bailed out? Well, they didn't have to get bailed out. Like, that's the thing. Goldman Sachs did the right thing. Anyways, I remember watching an interview with Lloyd Blankfein on some night interview show, and it was like, they get paid too much. I want to go and work at the place where you get paid too much. So I got online and I applied for a job at Goldman Sachs. And I just forgot about it. Okay. 3 months later, little did I know that Goldman Sachs has an office in Salt Lake City and actively recruits at the University of Utah and BYU. So when they came to the university and were doing their interview process at the university, they pulled my resume out and interviewed me. Called me up and interviewed me. So I was like, wow, this is like, I didn't know how it worked. I didn't even realize that was the time that I needed to start applying to a bunch of companies to get a good job. I didn't, I thought it was going to be when I was done. Anyways, so they interview me there at the university, and I go through 3 different guys, and, they didn't really ask me anything too technical or anything. It was just kind of like what you're like and how do you approach things and stuff like that. And I think that they were impressed with that. So they called me in for the second round of interviews. The second round of interviews, they wanted to potentially put me in 2 different technology groups. So I had to interview for both of those groups, 3 interviewers each. And they ask you the hardest effing questions. I mean, it is just like, ugh. They give you all sorts of crazy puzzles that you have to go through and everything else like that. And I'm going through them. They give you hints and stuff, but I'm finding it incredibly difficult. It's so hard. There's this one guy, he's like, why do you want to work here? And I was like, well, I love markets and I've been learning everything about it. I just finished reading an options book. And so he asked me a bunch of questions about options. They weren't complicated things, but they're like, if you sell a put, are you long or short the market? Well, you're long the market. So I knew all of those without a second thought. And I honestly believe that my answers on that thing alone was like the only reason that they hired me. So I always felt like I'm ADHD. I always felt like, there's so many smart people, they know a lot more than me about things. But I did my thing, and I went through a bunch of different groups. There was one group that I worked there that they had this product that just wasn't doing very well. And they brought me over because they said, well, Seth, if there's one thing that you have a really independent view, and that's what we need here. They wanted this thing that you're seeing with me now, where I say what I think is true, and I stick to what I know. And they kind of, it's combative. It's not always the greatest thing for everybody, but that's what they needed in that particular tool because it was a QA tool and everything else. And that was great. We did such a good job with it that they said, okay, you're done. Now we need you to fix this other thing. And then I did risk management stuff with KDB, which was, KDB is so weird. Anyways. So that's how I worked there, and I worked there from 2010 until mid 2016, like summer of 2016. And then, they were basically gutting the whole equities trading technology area. Basically what happened was everybody at Salt Lake in equities technology either got laid off or moved over into the new Marcus Bank thing. So, but that was okay because I couldn't trade options or futures or anything that while I was there. So when I quit, when I got laid off, I immediately got another job at the place that I work now. Like it was literally like I waited to do there was like a, what does they call it? Lee Hecht Harrison, do a little course for you to spiff up your resume. So I did that. Put my resume out. Literally the next day, recruiter called me. They had a perfect job for me. They really, really wanted me. They offered me a really good setup, and I've been working there ever since. And then I said, okay, I'm going to wake up early and trade futures. And I started trading futures Did that for a couple of months, and then there was a challenge on Futures.io. Oh, we want you to do video journals. So I started the YouTube channel for video journals, and I got about 1,000 subscribers off of that, I think it was. No, it wasn't 1,000. It was like 100, 200 subscribers off of that. And I was like, wow. And people actually watched it. So like it just kind of kept going. I was like, okay, well, let's just run with it. And that's what brings us to where we are today. So that's my experience. Gary's like, this is boring. I'm not going to take another trade, even though the E-mini looking pretty good now, right? It looks like, they keep doing this though, right? Crazy sell. The things get really, really fast and crazy, and then they recover it. I don't know. Trojan Scope says, smash the like button. Thank you very much. I don't ask you guys to push the like button enough. Should I go through all of the things, all of the call to action? First of all, if you do like this content, if you think this stream is good, if you don't think that this was a good stream, you don't like me arguing with Gary or whatever, then you don't have to click the like button. But if you enjoyed this, if you found today useful, then click that like button. We did well today. I caught a good exit on GME. I'm not saying that GME is done, but I needed to take profits today. I was able to catch, I scalped a bunch. I played it slow, made sure that I had a little bit of something under my feet first before I started sizing up. So, I caught a couple that were good. It was mostly break even. And then that last one just made the day. And so I can just stop right there. The robots, by the way, are doing terrible. I'm going to need to restart NinjaTrader because they're still frozen. Anyways, so if you like the video, click the like button. If you don't like the video, don't do anything, because if you click the dislike button, you will be less likely to have my content recommended to you in the future. Okay, next is, we do this every day. I am going to be back later today. We'll stream for another hour, but I will be back later today, and we'll watch and make fun of the FOMC meeting, which is always fun. So the best way to follow the channel is to subscribe and click the bell icon. I know that every YouTube channel out there says, oh, you need to click the bell icon, but here on this channel, it is particularly useful. I have almost triple the number of subscribers that have the bell icon clicked compared to the average YouTube channel. And that is because my subscribers know it is easier to find the channel in the morning. They're here every day. They're dedicated. They want to see every video that we post up, even though they might not necessarily be interested in every video. They at least want to see the title and see if it's something that's worth watching. So I will recommend clicking the bell icon. All right. What next? Oh, yes. Then I have little things, because we're here every day and dedicated community. You want to be a part of the community, right? So we got these Traders Gonna Trade mugs. They're printed really, really well. Stream Elements does a really good job on these. And I really feel like it encapsulates some of our perspectives of the market, right? That sometimes it just doesn't matter. Oh, GameStop is overvalued. It doesn't matter, guys. Traders Gonna Trade. So you can get the mug. There's a link in the video description. I also have a Patreon if you want to view the Bitcoin valuation chart every day, $5 a month. And then lastly, I have some indicators. I've had it covered up with the stock trading, but here are the oscillators and so forth that I use. These are indicators that I wrote. You can't get anywhere else. They store historical level 2 data, which is unique, and you can build robots off of them that trade live. They're great. So you can go to speculatorseth.com and you can download that, try it for 2 weeks. And if you like it, then you can click the join button on the video below to join the channel for a $10 a month subscription. And then you get access to the indicators as long as you're subscribed. And then lastly, I guess the other thing is I would say is that if you subscribe to the channel for $1 a month, and I would make it free if they would let me, but if you subscribe for $1 a month, you notice a lot of these guys that have been around longer, they have subscriptions. It's so that they can use our special smileys, like the money printer smiley. So I knew it was going to go back up, but I got flushed. You talking about on the E-mini? And bye, Sandra Hansen. Thank you for stopping by. Yeski says the audio was gone? Really? You guys can still hear me, right? I'm pretty sure you can still hear me. I'm hearing that YouTube is kind of having some weird issues today, so it wouldn't surprise me if there's some weird stuff going on with that. 70 likes. Thank you guys so much. Anyways, so those are all the calls to action, so I don't have to do it again. I'm not like good at promoting myself. I don't, Winston is always reminding me to tell people to click the like button. Like because you gotta understand, I didn't start this thinking like, oh, I'm gonna be like have this huge YouTube channel and everything. It's not huge, but to me, it's like, whoa, how did this happen? It just kind of happened on its own. And I guess I enjoy making the videos and I enjoy doing the streaming, and so I'm like, well, I'm gonna take advantage of it. My main goal is to get good at trading. Sometimes I do really well, sometimes I don't. This week, I guess I'm doing okay. I was feeling pretty down yesterday, but then I made this back. I'm feeling okay about it. Yeah, 200 live viewers is very decent. It definitely is. Well, even normally we peak at around 50 viewers. And even that, I think, is amazing. I know that there are a couple of other streamers in my space. We're talking about one that blew an account earlier, which, I think that they've all got nice things going for them. I think there are a couple that do get more viewers than me. There's they have, there's a lot of clickbaity titles not titles, but they'll say, oh, I made $2,000 today. And then that's in the thumbnail. And so people think, oh, I want to make $2,000. And so they click on it. They do that. Are you saying the shorts are already covered, or what does the title say? You're correct. So Citron and Melvin Capital, according to reports from CNBC, are no longer in their positions. That doesn't necessarily mean that the shares have been bought back, because they may have just given them to somebody else. And the short as a percentage of the float still appears to be very high. But don't call him a beaver. Be nice. I like Matt. I mean, I don't know anything about it, to be honest. I would like to speak with him though. He finished the story. You say that CNBC were lying. You're like, where's the proof of that? I keep seeing a lot of people saying that they're lying, but I'm not seeing it. I do see a lot of people just saying stuff because that's what they want to believe. You be careful with that. Don't say things. Remember, if you say something, you share a piece of information out there that is false, and you know that it is false, that is market manipulation, and the SEC can come after you for it. So I would say if you don't know, the best thing is to just not say anything or say that you don't know. So I don't know. All I know is that it has been reported that they're out of their shorts. I believe that even if those big guys are out, it is a sin. I believe that even if Citron and Melvin Capital bought all of their shares back, that there are still a lot of shorts out there to squeeze, and I believe that this could continue going. Okay, well, I'm just looking at this. I'm glad that I took my profits where I did, and it did kind of turn down and move higher, so that's okay. They haven't quite gotten to where we were at the open, but we'll see. Perhaps somebody just needed to liquidate some stuff and they're done. That's possible. It's a little too noisy. Oh, by the way, Ace, you really need to get on Discord now, because I went and I made some extra Discord rooms for you long timers. So if you go into Discord, say something in the lobby and I'll give you the permissions and you can get into the veterans channel. And that makes it so that I can see what you guys are saying and make sure that I don't miss the veteran comments. How insane are the people saying they set sell offers at 5,000? Well, Whatever. I've been noisy, haven't I? Maybe you're talking about me because I was yelling and stuff. I got excited. It gets me excited because don't you ever get that? Haven't you ever had that experience where you're almost certain that you know something, and in retrospect it turns out that you really did know something, and nobody believes you, and everybody believes all of these other people that don't know crap what they're talking about, and they fall. It's like, I don't get it. It's like, what are you doing wrong? Why? What is it about what I say that is so unappealing, and then these other people say something that's complete crap and everybody loves it? What is with that? we want to hear you rip another strip off for Gary. You should come back on Friday, Gary, and we can do the Discord voice. You sound like a wife. Oh, sugar daddy got timed out. It's okay. That's not the first time we've done that to him. Because him and Ace are always going at it. At least we're not having another discussion about religion or whatever. It's politics and religion are the two things that people don't like talking about. I love talking about politics, but religion is one that I kind of get a little unnerved about doing. So I served as a missionary for my church, and my trainer, my first companion, he was the first black South African missionary. So for the first guy from South Africa that was black that was sent abroad outside of South Africa. And hey Stickball, how are you doing? Yeah, 200 viewers. Well, apparently if you put GME in your title, like a ton of people come and watch. So anyways, he loved to argue, man. Oh my gosh. And we were in Missouri. We were in Missouri, so the people like to argue with him. And I think people like to talk to him because he had that South African accent and everything, and it was just like nobody ever met anybody like that. But man, and I remember there was these times where I would be like, well, I don't have anything to add. I'm done in this conversation. I want to go. And he would sit and keep arguing with them for 3 hours. You ever stood on the street corner and listened to two people argue for 3 hours? Holy crap, Slater. If you're out there, Slater, I miss you. Get a Facebook account and come and talk to me. But holy crap. Can you show how? Oh yeah, sorry. Let me pull that back up. So GME is at 285. I tell you what, I don't know how I did that or what it was that I saw. I think I just got lucky, but my exit at 320 looks pretty good, don't you think? No. You don't understand, bots. So normally in the LDS church, because when you're a missionary, you pay all of your own expenses. You pay into a fund, and then that is redistributed out. It's actually kind of like socialism, but because that accounts for some people go to places where it's very cheap to live, and some people go to places where it's very expensive to live. Well, in South Africa, the black people just aren't as well to do as the white people are. I mean, that's just the reality of it, and I'm sure you're familiar with the history there. So when a black missionary in South Africa would become a missionary, they were usually sent to another mission somewhere in Africa. Right? They were always sent to another mission somewhere in Africa. And he was special. He kind of had a special history anyways, just like his conversion story and everything. So they sent him to the United States. So he was the first black South African missionary in the LDS Church sent to the United States. And it was in Missouri. Yes, he was my first companion. You don't understand bots. Yeah, no. Anyways, he was a good guy. I liked him a lot. Oh man, It was fun being his companion. The only real downsides to being his companion was, one, he would argue with people for a really long time, and two, he would shed. Holy crap, man. Just like little curly black hairs everywhere. Anybody? So I have been trading with Fidelity. I got out 320 and everything has been going great. Kind of looks to me like, it was kind of crazy at the pre-market and going into the open and everything, but it looks to me like everything's fine and the buyers are still just holding. So I still kind of think that GME could keep going, that later in the day we could get something else, that we could get, a further move up as people try to cover their shorts. Was he clean? Oh, yeah. Anyways, so I'm trading with Fidelity. I haven't had any problems, and I was able to get out at 320. So that was like a 4-bagger for me, right? I won't show it. That I made 4 times of my money on that. I only took it off because I want to try and put it into something else. We'll see if that happens. Fidelity is just for the US. I don't know. I don't know, to be honest with you. I wish that I had a stock. There are so many things about the Fidelity platform that I don't like. I don't like their charts. I don't like. There's not a DOM in there. I can't get level 2 information. Like, I want to be able to see how many people are short. There's so much. There's so much. But you know what? There's a problem with every stock trading, even TD Ameritrade. So all I know is that Fidelity has been much more reliable. Every time I'm hearing all this stuff, all these people saying, all these guys saying I can't get on Robinhood, like every time, and Fidelity is fine. I think Fidelity has maybe been down once before. Webull, I hear a lot of good things about Webull. I actually did try like their web interface. I didn't think there was anything too special. The issue with Webull apparently is that it's owned by Chinese people, so I'm not so sure. So a lot of people distrust them because of that, we'll say. Oh, okay. So somebody was asking, what is the FOMC? FOMC stands for Federal Open Market Committee. And that is the decision they will make at 2 o'clock Eastern time, noon my time, and we will be back and I'll start streaming about 5 minutes before that. That's when they announce the interest rate decision. They put a statement out, and then after 30 minutes after that, they have a news conference. So we'll get on and we'll watch the news conference, and usually we kind of try and talk about the implications from what they're saying, try and learn more about the markets from Mr. Powell, and make fun of their ties. So that's what we're doing later today. 2 o'clock Eastern time. You come back, make sure you're subscribed, you get notifications. Today has taught me that you get what you pay for when it comes to brokers. Trading 212 has 0 fees, and it's still down over an hour after. Wow, really? Paper hands, I would say, I mean, I think that's fair. I think that Gary was being facetious when he said a 4-bagger. Wow. No, it's probably not amazing. Have you been checking out the REMF? They're bailing today. It's pretty hard today, but at one point, that one was a 5-bagger for me. Looks like, oh wow. Oh yeah. It's funny when one of them was down big. Like both my Goldman and my Rare Earth Resources are down, but my Sumo was up big time. Look at that bar on Sumo Logic. Yeah. I remember when I bought it like 25 somewhere way back here, and it kind of went down on me, and I was like, oh, it's so terrible. No, you just gotta hold it if you believe in them. I'm liking that. Anyways, going back to GameStop, because I know a lot of you are here for GameStop, and I got out. Yeah, I got out because I've got a bigger trade that I want to make, and I want to use that money for that bigger trade. That's why I got out. I mean, look at it right now. It's going. Like, it seems to me like it's going to keep going. We'll see. I guess what's probably going to happen is I'm not going to get filled on my puts in MSTR, and GameStop will just keep going up to 1,000. Yeah, maybe it'll go to 1,000. I mean, that's the number I don't know why everybody picked 1,000, but that's certainly the number that I see a lot of people, putting out there. I have to say, it seems to me like the Wall Street bet guys are refusing to sell, and it's just going to keep going as long as they do that. Like, if they don't sell, then there's not a lot. Well, how many shares have traded today? 34 million? This is more than yesterday. Yesterday was like 16 million at this point. Most of Wall Street bets can't sell. Well, some of them are probably... Oh, yeah, the platforms are down. Yeah, it is a good point. It's so funny. Everybody was immediately coming out with the conspiracy theories. This GameStop thing going off the hook, and all of the brokerages are down. But actually, if you're trying to get out, you want the brokerages to be on so that there's shares there for you, so that there's noise traders for you to trade in. Well, they touched 320 again. Trading 212 says trading with GameStop is temporarily suspended. The financial juice just came over the wire there. And it was loud, and he had like an echo on it. We won't get lucky any week. We're artists. Well, so I guess I should repeat what I was saying the other day. Okay, do you see? Look at this chart right here. I know it's kind of small, but you see this trend right here? Beautiful. We like that. That's good. That's good. Consistent upward trend. That's what's going to squeeze them out. Okay. This thing a little bit earlier. If I can pull it over here. Okay. This thing right here, bad. I don't like this. Okay. Don't chase it. Because when you get a spike up like that, it tends to actually go lower. Now, in this case, it happened in the overnight and at the open, so it's a little bit different. But, if we're later in the day and you get a little spike like that, you don't chase it. Buy the dips, sell the rips. Keep it consistent trend. So your first year trading, good job, Jesse. I think that it's a lot of people's first year trading. What if it's inverted? Well, if it's inverted, then it's kind of like the other way, isn't it? So here's the thing that I don't think that a lot of retail traders know. Well, let's go to the chalkboard. Do you see the chalkboard back there? I'll make it sharp. Do you see that little figure that I drew on the chalkboard, right? That is a graph of impact. And you see how it kind of curves over? That's because the larger that your meta order is, over time, or once you start to get to very large values of Q is like the size of the order. Once you get to very large values of Q, the impact that you have actually kind of starts to trail off and just, arrives at a certain spot. So people think, oh, you just gotta like buy more and more and more, and it'll just keep moving the market. Well, that's not the case. And the other consequence of this is that an order going the other way, so if we're up at that top part, there's all this buying and it's kind of flattening out. Another buy won't have a very much impact, but a sell will have more impact than those buys do. And that's why you end up going lower. That's why you often end up going lower, right? Is because the impact of the sells after all of that ends up being stronger. So the whole thing here is that's why you want to buy the dips and sell the rips. Yeah? Makes sense? And you can see my little equation there, C times the square root of Q over V. That's the way, that is the mathematical formula that describes this market behavior. So you're saying wiping habits going to feed into good weeks event? I wouldn't necessarily call that ripping, but if all of a sudden they're at 380 now, then that's a rip. It really looks to me like it's just going to keep going, guys. I'm just nervous. I'm so like, can you see like the emotional battle that I'm going through here with it? That it's like, I just really want to be short this thing, and I don't think I can. I don't think I can do it. And I'm just really disappointed. And so I'm like, well, maybe I should stay in the GME. Do you want to buy it? Well, no, I wouldn't buy this. I wouldn't buy it right here. Like, if you're not in it, I wouldn't buy it right here. No, if you're not in it, I'd wait for it to pull back a little bit. You can get back in maybe at like 300. Wouldn't short it. Yeah, there's some people that are shorting it, though. There are retail people that are shorting it. Short squeeze spreads to Europe as day traders hunt the next GameStop. You got paper hands early, so sorry, guys. I think so let me think about this. I think that if I wasn't trying to get this other trade on, I would probably hold it till Friday. And I really don't like holding things over the weekend, though. And I was not intending it to be a long-term hold, right? Like, it's a swing trade for me. I held it for 2 days. It's fine. $280 or $300, and then you buy again. Yeah. I mean, if I were to buy back in again, I would wait for a dip. I would wait for like a big red bar like this thing right here. Getting good number of stuff coming through on Twitter, but it's nothing all that interesting. Just to put things into perspective, this chart by Deutsche Bank shows that the crowd has the collective power to make any equity the most traded in the world on any day if it's in their sights. Yes, sir. A little bit of a sell there, but they're holding it. I think it looks positive there. You do kind of have to wonder if how many shorts are in there that are just panicking and that it makes it spike up. How will a correction by the IMF impact the market? I haven't heard anything about that, Orange Ninja. I'm going to have to search for that. I certainly think that if anything were to come out and to tighten monetary policy, that you could see some real risk-off sentiment in the market, you know? And I also think that this GameStop thing is probably part of why we're getting like these sells in ES. What do you make of the professionals on radio/TV whining about that? Would you class it as contradictory considering how they behaved trying to run GME into the ground? So, Sean, I think that what you see on CNBC is all just an act to get you guys to watch it more. They know that if they were to, like, look, if they got on there and they just ripped on the people that shorted it and were like all 100% in with you, like, I guess some people would watch it because of that, but it wouldn't really create as much controversy. But if they come in and they take the Wall Street side of it and say, oh, you're manipulating the market, and you know, they're saying this stuff to get you going because they know that you're going to tune in and watch from that. They want the controversy. They're doing what they can to generate controversy, and so I would read it that way. Financial news sources tend to be better than other news sources because people do watch those news sources to make money. But they also still end up playing into the entertainment aspect of things as well. What did you do to not get flushed on ES? Well, I was trading with 8-tick stops and targets for a bit. Were all of my trades were buys? Well, I found some spots where there were buys, and I very clearly saw a large order down at the bottom. So I said, okay, they're going to trade that. They're going to trade through that, and then maybe they'll reverse. And so I played it off of that. And then that's how I was able to catch that big rise up. They're giving the platform to the institutions to their side, though, and there doesn't seem to be much balance. Well, yeah, because, like, are you going to let some kid on CNBC that's going to swear and say all sorts of stupid stuff? Like... I would love to be on CNBC to speak for these people, but I don't think I really do. I'm not one of these guys with millions of dollars in options. Oh, some of the amount of money that people risk on this stuff is just so startling to me. Is this one guy? What is his name? Deep effing value. It's made like 17 million now at this point. Like, I remember I would look at options and, like, if they caught a really good options play, they would maybe be making, like, you know, triple digits. Maybe one or two times I saw $1 million. And now all of a sudden I'm seeing like 5 or 6 guys that have made more than $10 million on this thing. It's crazy. That was the Jigsaw. Yeah, I would say the Jigsaw was a pretty significant factor behind me picking the bottom there on ES. Oh, they filled your cell? Not bad at all, bots. Yep, he started with a 53K YOLO. Now the issue here. Wait, have you been who's YouTube? Does DFV have a YouTube channel? Yeah. He's pulled profits a few times and bought back on dips. So yeah. Well, so there's one thing you got to remember with these options is there's one thing where it's like, let's see how I can explain this. If we go back to this whole thing that we've got on the chart, okay, there's an impact. There's an impact. The larger your order is, the more that it converges to a certain value. It's like this, okay? This is your impact. As Q increases, your impact trails off, okay? So here, what you do, so the whole issue is you get into a trade, okay? Why did I redraw that? Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Okay, you get into a trade that I'm just making it worse and worse, aren't I? Okay, and then what? Nothing happens. Okay, well, it's moved up, so you decide to sell it, right? When you sell it, the impact of your orders are going to be more, and it's going to move it like this, right? And this is the problem. This is the problem. In order for you to make money, somebody else has to come and bring it up, and then you can sell it on them, and then you can, right? There's an impact. There's a market impact. So, when we look at how much money these guys have made on their options, okay, he's made $13 million or whatever it is. Okay, that's a lot. If he were to start selling right now, it would have an impact on the market, and it would not be as high as 13 million, right? There are things that you can do to try and like reduce your impact on the market, and Wall Street spends a considerable amount of effort doing that, but there's going to be an impact regardless, right? But there's a big but. On options, you don't necessarily have to dump them, right? You can just wait till expiration and collect it there at expiration. So here's what you do. Is you create your impact, you don't sell, and then because you've made money, you can use mark-to-market rules the next day to put even more margin, and you can go up again, and you can just keep doing that. Because the mark-to-market rules don't factor in that if you sell that you're not actually going to make $13 million, right? So they're taking advantage of a market inefficiency. And it seems to me that this market inefficiency will continue to exist until they change to the mark-to-market rules. Does that make sense? So GME is probably the craziest example of it, but I think that you're going to continue to see moves like this from Wall Street Bets because they've figured the game out on the options, and they're going to have to change it. That makes sense? What kind of impact of an option sell like that during the squeeze where institutions have to purchase his shares, if that's how it works? It's a good question, because him selling his shares, it depends a lot on how they all do it, right? But if he were to just like straight out, just like sell everything all at once, then the market would probably take a big hit, right? But what you do instead is you kind of space it out. So you take a little bit off, you wait for your market impact to trail off, and then at the exact point that it's trailed off enough, you do it again, right? And that's how they play it. This is how things like oh my gosh, why am I having a hard time remembering the name of it? There's models for getting out. It used to be that you would use the VWAP, but there's like a more efficient ways of doing it now. They play the games between the rules Wall Street made. They shouldn't be changed because of this. Well, I mean, but that's the whole thing, is that when Wall Street was using it, they were kind of abusing an inefficiency in the market too. I'm just saying, if you have this set of rules that basically tries to determine how much margin you can use based on what your profits are, that should factor in the execution impact of your trade, because if you sell it, you're not actually going to get the price that you actually got at the end of the day. You're just not, because you're too big. And this can be like calculated, straight up calculated. It should be factored in. If you want an efficiently moving market, then that's what you're going to have to do. If you don't do it, then there's just going to be this big market inefficiency there all the time. This is the most fun I've had since I agree, Error 404. Do you get this? Be careful, because what will happen is you'll get the post-euphoria doldrums. I was definitely getting that yesterday. I was like ready to work out, and everything. And I got the headache. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it. And I was just like, all of the happy chemicals from all the crazy that's been going on go away, and you almost get depressed. Ravers talk about this all the time. Like, you go to the rave and you have such a fun time at the rave, and then the next 2 days you're like depressed because real life just isn't as entertaining. Although I guess this is kind of real life. Paper hands tend to draw. You're kind of mad that I took the profit there, didn't I? Well, listen, I have a good excuse. Guys. I need to have it there for this FOMC thing. If tomorrow I'm not getting, like, if Bitcoin just goes without me, then maybe I will try getting back in. Can't go broke making money. Actually, you can, Josh. Should we talk about that? Let's talk about that. I have a video on this. You should go watch it. It's about expectancy. So I'm going to draw a graph here. There's a graph, and it looks like this. It's not a square root, it's more exponential. Okay. And what this is this is your reward. This is R, and this is P. So R is what your average winner is compared to your average loser, and P is your percentage win rate. Okay. So all of the trades or strategies that exist above this line, we'll color it in. Yeah, like that. These are profitable trades. Everything below the line is unprofitable. Am I doing that right? Okay. So like if you have an R of 1 and a win rate of 50%, that would be break even. And then if your win rate is higher than that, you make money. Makes sense? Oh, you know what? I drew it wrong. I drew it wrong, didn't I? Because it's supposed to be like, it's like this. That's what I did wrong. Okay, so that's like 50%. So here's where if your average winner, so if your average winner is equal to your average loser, then it has to be 50%, right? If your average winner is half your average loser, then you have to get 60% right here, right? Okay, so what happens? You come in, and anytime that you even get any kind of profit, you take it. You will have a very high win rate, but when you lose, your losers will be large. And what will tend to happen is this: you will get a losing streak. It's just statistically, it's going to happen. And you will get a losing streak of like 16 losing trades in a row. And you say, well, that's like statistically unlikely. But if you go back and you backtest it, I almost guarantee you'll find one of those in there. And then you blow the account. You blow the account. So yeah, you can lose from making money. Yeah, because your winners aren't large enough to outweigh your losers, right? So now look at how I traded it today. What did I do? Well, I was feeling like the market was a little constrained, so I brought my targets and stops in. So I was doing $10 at a time. Started with a loser, a winner, a loser, two winners. Okay. So now let's increase it. So that was a loser. I'll allow one or two of those. A winner, loser. Okay. We're getting in there. And then I got this one that was like, okay, this one actually looks really good. So I took it with 2 contracts and I let the second contract run. So now I got this situation where my win rate is essentially 50%, but my risk reward is something like 10 because of that one excessive winner, right? And if that had hit the stop, then it would have just have been a loss. Do you see? It's easier in the long run. It's easier to develop. You hold a long time and you have large winners compared to your losers. That works out better. I mean, it's easy to find something that you take a large stop and you could be profitable for a while, but you're not going to have long-term consistency. That's why I was saying some of these guys you'll see on other YouTube channels, they often do that. They will trade, they will have a 16-tick stop, and they will have an 8-tick target. And it works good for YouTube because you win almost all the time, right? You win more than 60-80% of the time sometimes. And that looks good to everybody that's watching. And then that losing streak comes, like it did for Matt. And everybody just goes, oh, well, that was like a freak. Like they forget about it. It's kind of funny. They forget about it. They only remembered all of the times that you were winning, and they discount the big loser. But in the long run, the big loser is all that matters, right? Anyways, the video is called Expectancy and Performance Metrics. I do it on the Blackboard, and I go into quite a bit of detail about it. You finally caught the COVID? Well, my advice is don't let it get in your lungs. For me, it was just chills. You want to make sure that it doesn't get to your lungs. Why are you arguing against the beaver? What are you talking about? Well, so it looks like that move right there was maybe somebody covering a little bit, but now they've kind of backed off. So like we said, what we should see is, kind of like this. Kind of depends on how the volume comes in. So when I'm drawing this, and you say, well, the stock chart doesn't look like that. The stock chart looks like this. That's because this isn't evenly distributed over time. What happens is the volume tends to be more clustered around this area. So you get this sort of a thing. GME is the future. We're going to make it the most valuable company in the world, and then we're just going to hold it. And they can do a share offering and get a ton of money, and yeah, they're going to become our new overlords. I, for one, welcome our new GameStop overlords. They can be just as oppressive as Apple and Google. Go for it. I believe in you. No. Will they had to pay expired options on Friday or Monday? I don't know about that. I think that all of the clearing and stuff for that takes a few days. Or it can take a few days. No, I don't think it halted. It's still going. Still volume, still trading. it's definitely slowed down, hasn't it? So I'd say, this whole thing, the way that it worked out and moving higher is pretty good. Maybe if I had, waited, I was more risky. So here's another thing, let me tell you, is if you're looking for like these models to like how they exit and reduce their market impact, there's a risk factor, like how much risk you're willing to put on. And if you're not willing to put on a lot of risk, then it favors trading earlier. And if you are willing to take on a lot of risk, it favors trading later. And in this instance, I wasn't willing to take on a lot of risk, so I took it off earlier. GameStop to open a location in the Capitol building there. There's a bit of a sell wall there, really. Well, now for you guys that have the market depth on this, where are you getting it from? Because I want the market depth too, and I don't get it with Fidelity. Schwab Street Smart. See, like I come in here, it's like trades and orders, fixed income, international, trade armor, time and sales, watch lists. Like it doesn't have it. Like it literally doesn't have the depth of market. I'm like, what? Like, isn't that the whole point of? Whatever. And that may plug Jigsaw into it already. Robinhood Gold gives it to you for $5 a month. Well, that wouldn't be too bad. Is market depth an order book? Yeah. So it's like what I think that the most proper term for what we're talking about is full depth of market, which means that you're seeing what the depth of the limit orders are at every price. Because in futures trading, we call it level 2 data. There's level 2 data in stocks, but that's different because that's like what is the best bid and ask for all of the different major market makers. And especially on the NASDAQ, it's changing. On the NASDAQ, they have a full order book and you can look at it. And the proposal is that they're going to have it for everybody. So I only assume that these tools like Jigsaw will become more useful in the future, but at the moment, it's not quite there yet. This chat stream is going super fast, so you're going to need a couple of clones soon. Oh man, this is nothing compared to what some of these people on Twitch deal with. That's GME starts pumping and I get COVID. Coincidence? Don't let it get into your lungs, air cages. We want you to live. Maybe try Weeball. We only have because you can mess with the charts. For stocks in particular, I don't really care too much about the charts. I totally feel at what you're saying, Rocket Man, but here's the thing. When this is over, it's going to come back really fast. It'll come back really fast. I bet you there will be like a second pump. But, if everybody decided to bail because they felt like the shorts were out, then it would come back very quickly. And the question is, like, at what point do you know that the shorts are out? Well, I think that it would take a few days. That's why I keep saying that, like, I think that it'll go at least through this week. Maybe it will go through next week. What about Bookmap for stops? Seems to be better than futures. Well, so Bookmap was originally a futures product, and I believe that you can use it for stocks now, and that's where I was kind of getting at that, like, you can do it, but it's like not quite there. It's like it's not available for everyone, and it's not available for the stuff that I want to be. I really don't think that they've been squoze. I don't know where they'll get to off of the squeeze, maybe 700. But I want to be able to put it into this other thing. That's why. No, so my 700 is based off of trying to calculate the impact of the shorts all covering based on the current past 2 days of action. The thing is it's probably too high of an estimate. Like just the impact of the shorts covering is probably less than that. But then you also have all of the retail traders trading it up and everything, and that has an impact too, which is probably even larger. And so then maybe it could go past 700. But you're in a real area of uncertainty. That's what I was saying. Just the thing that I would say is that it will come back fast. So don't feel bad if you like get out a little bit early, okay? I wouldn't say that today is like, oh, it's early and maybe there's a little bit left. You know, it's not like that. There's probably way more to go. But, you know, I took it off because I wanted to do something else with the money. I wanted to put a $300 short on Bitcoin. Open. If I go to 185, I'll see like somebody bid ahead of me. That's funny. Maybe I should try messing with them and increase my bid too. The thing is you see people buying them, but they're not selling them. Not until you get, well, actually, I don't really see anybody selling puts, actually. That's interesting. There's people selling calls down at 340. Maybe in March. Let's check March. Oh, there was one at 300. I'm just disappointed. Now look, oh wow, look at AT&T go. What happened to them overnight? Was they have earnings or something? T is interesting to me because they have like a really high dividend and they've been kind of shorted. Brian Kelly with CNBC doing the opening for BTC Miami conference tomorrow. Well, good. Maybe they buy it up for us again and we get filled. There's a source for when you say major shorts cover beyond that. No, I don't. But I would say that this whole I don't believe CNBC thing is kind of, I think, foolish. They could not put out a press release and put it out on CNBC if there was something objectively untrue about it. That would be straight market manipulation when everybody's looking. There might be something misleading about what they're saying, but pretty sure that both of those guys have exited their positions. How they did it, who knows? But it has been reported, and I believe them. what impact does this GME situation have big picture wise? Will this ruin trading for everyone? Well, not necessarily. So I have to say that when you have a big market downturn, after the market downturn, this is a common thing. This happened after the 2008 crisis with Volkswagen. But I also think that, again, there appears to be a market inefficiency. There seems to be a market inefficiency with mark-to-market rules, and perhaps this will encourage them to patch the hole. I think they should. Said yesterday they will do everything they can to not move the market while they make moves. Saw an influx of people coming in again to get everyone to panic sell, saying it's all over. Yeah. Well, there was a lot of people were pushing stuff for sure. For sure. But, like, I don't know. Can you recommend any books for... Okay, so if you're investing, then the book that you should read is One Up on Wall Street by Peter Lynch. And this is the book that you should read to learn about stocks. Okay? If you kind of want a more like swing trade and stuff, go and read Jim Cramer's books. I know that I'll get like a lot of flack for saying that, but he has like good information in there about how to manage a portfolio, like actively manage a portfolio. That is good stuff. Okay, for a retail investor. If you want to get more into like the day trading and like futures trading in particular, then you need to start reading things like the what is it called? Mind Over Markets is one that I would start with. I have books for like market microstructure, but that's probably like way far in your future if you're going to do that. You think it'll bring? Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. If they change the mark-to-market rules, I think that would be a regulatory change. And the net impact of that regulatory change would be that they wouldn't be able to move markets with gamma the way that they've been doing. Would be a different story. They'd be able to... Sorry. So it would be like they would be able to come in and buy a bunch of options and move it with the gamma, but then the next day they would not have as much money made in margin to be able to continue pushing it, because the mark-to-market rules would factor in the cost of them exiting the trade. I read somewhere that short interest is at 240%. Oh, well, I certainly haven't seen that. I think they were saying 130%, something like that, 138. And I don't know how up to date those numbers are. I only know that certain large players have covered. Probably not all of the large players, but the ones that we were all focused on. We know from Zero Hedge had a story yesterday that at least one large fund that appears to be like next on the chopping block. Well, they had that little spike there and it evened back out, which is good. Now they're kind of starting to get a little fast again. Man, when you look at it like that, it sure looks bullish, doesn't it? If you posted a link there, I can't see it. YouTube blocks the links unless you're a moderator. Do you have... I had it and I gained 4 times my money. I took it from 80 to 320. And I only took it off so that I could try and put it into a different trade. Should you buy now? Well, the last good buy that you got there was like at 330, right? Hmm. Do you believe that Melvin and Citron covered their shorts? Well, so I think, let's say that covering their shorts is different from exiting their position. So they might have just sold it to somebody else. You know what I mean? When is FOMC? It's at 2 Eastern time. Noon dip, maybe? I mean, I would be surprised if it just slowly trended all day, but it's possible. I only had one share in the GME trade bots. I wanted to be a part of it. I do not use this stock trading account for gambling. You know, this is like a long-term portfolio. I've gotten it up. Oh, I guess I thought we were at over 7,000 at one point. I guess maybe this one come down a little bit today. No, actually, I don't know why it's like that. Well, whatever. I've almost doubled my money on all of my net trades that I've made. But yeah, I intend to hold these ones. Like, I intend to hold Sumo Logic for years and years, you know? But I haven't been using all of the capital that's in there, and I was like, well, this GME one is like a high probability to me, so I took it for there. And then, like, the whole thing going through my head was, I'm going to sell it over here, and then I'm going to turn over and I'm going to buy puts on MSTR. But it's not working out. I have limit orders out there. They're not hitting me. So I don't know. I don't know what I do. I'm not going to chase MSTR now that I've got one. I don't know. Like, I could very much see it at 700 tomorrow. Don't get me wrong. It's just that, like, this trade that I want to do in Bitcoin, if I get it right, it's going to be worth like $50,000. It's going to be like turning 500 into 50,000. So, like, I kind of want to take that, you know? But it kind of sucks that I just don't feel good about doing both of them at the same time. So, it could be. I don't know. Anytime you got the FOMC, you've got a chance for high stock market volatility. Stock says trading bit. No. So there is a stock called MSTR, which is, a tech company. And they were basically dead. And so what they did was they started buying Bitcoin. And of course, everybody goes in and buys them in because they've got Bitcoin. And so they went from like $20 or something like that to maybe it was only $100, but they've like, gone up triple digit percentages. And if Bitcoin falls apart, then I believe that MSTR will come down too. So MSTR becomes a way for you to trade options on Bitcoin, essentially. So that's what I want to do, is I just want to buy some puts. I want to limit my risk. Certainly, I'm never going to put myself in a position where I could lose everything. So I'm going to limit my risk, and I'm going to put it in and try and buy puts. But I'm only willing to pay like $500 or something. And, when you look at the options, so I have them out at what? I have one on July 185 strike put, and I have one in March 290 put. But I was only putting them in for low prices, and they're all bidding higher than that right now. And the offers that they're asking for are pretty high. So, like, I'm not going to put $1,000 in it. So unless somebody hits those, I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to make the trade. So that's why I'm disappointed, because if GameStop keeps going from here and it doesn't like turn back down and give another good entry spot, later, I'm not going to chase it. I believe Bitcoin will bounce over the summer. I think it's kind of funny that a drop from 40K to 30K after it just rose from 10K to 40K is considered like a huge drop. But the place, I would not consider Bitcoin oversold until it's below 7,000, I think was the numbers I had. So, I don't know. The thing in Bitcoin is that it doesn't look like the Tether folks are done with it, does it? Doesn't look like the Tether folks are done with it. So, like, they could try pumping it again over the summer for sure. Or going into late fall. All right, guys. Well, I got to get going now. But I will be back for the FOMC. So, again, 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Immediately after this, I'll put the event in so that you guys will see it while you're still browsing YouTube. We'll see where GameStop is. Maybe if they give us a good spot, then later in the day we could get back in. I'm kind of hoping the FOMC will have an impact on Bitcoin, though. So we'll see. I'm hoping that the Federal Reserve will come out and will continue to be dovish, and that will push Bitcoin up. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to leave the title the way that it is. Make sure you click that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Check all the links in the video description. I will see you guys in a few hours. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends.